So this is a Schoolbag question and that's in your book. So we may have done this before, but we'll just repeat over just to get back into doing our orthographic projection. So they ask first for a front elevation, which is a front view looking from A, an end view, which is looking from B, which I suppose the first thing to understand is if this is looking from the side of B, that means that it'll be standing on the left, you'll be looking on the right. Okay, and then they ask a plan, which is our top view. So what I've done here is I just roughly laid out where I position it on the page. So I come in about 15 or 20 here. This is my front view, so I came over 100, which is my width here, and I came up 100, and I drew sort of basically well, it happens to be a square, but an outline for the shape to fit in. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to leave a gap maybe of about 10, and I'm going to draw a line or a dot there just to get started for the end view. So I'm just going to roughly position each view. And the reason this is good practice is because if it wasn't an exam, typically you'd get a third for each view, a third of the mark. So at least if I start off by doing it that way, I'll get most of the marks. So I'm just projecting my line across there. That's what my purple line is. And my width here is 65. Okay, so I'll come across 65 and I'll draw that up. Now I've loads more detail to put in, but for the minute I'm not too worried about it. So there's basically my front view. Okay, I drew my line across. I thought that purple was a little bit lighter, but anyways, there's my end view. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to project down for my plan view. Now there's two ways to project down. You can do your 45-degree line this way, or in some of the questions you'll see we draw it the other way, depending on where the picture is. But this is a good way of doing it. So I'll do my 45-degree line there from my elevation, or from the edge of my elevation. And maybe I'll use a light green here, or maybe an orange, just to bring it down. So I'll bring these down to the 45-degree line. Now it is critical that that line is 45 degrees, so you need to make sure that if you're a smaller set square. And I'll bring those across, and I'll bring these ones down. Okay, the orange is a bit lighter than the purple anyway. So what I'm going to do now is basically I'm going to highlight that. So if this was an exam situation, I probably have got 10% for each view. I've done an outline of all of them and have a box or a space in which for them to fit, and I can project between them. So we'll go back and we'll try to finish in as much of the front elevation. I may or may not be able to fill it all in one go, or it might be handy to look for at a different side. So from the front view, you can see here that I can see this block here, this red block. We'll come back to that at the end, but just in case when you look at it, you might see, well, there's not a measurement given for that. If you look at that closely, you'll see there's a number 35 in that. We'll come back to that in a second. We'll draw our yellow block here first. So what we know is that this, or do we know? So do we know this height? Yes, we do. It's just a bit confusing from the drawing. So this height here must be 50, okay? Usually it should be marked a bit clearer or some type of line to show that that's level with that. But if that wasn't that measurement, there'd be no reason for it. Okay, so that must be 50. So what we're going to do is we're going to up 50, and we'll mark that. And at the same time, we may as well bring that across. I mark that front point there. Okay, and then we have a measurement of 75 or another 25 up. And we'll mark that across the two views. Okay, and what I'm going to actually do is draw in the end view first. So this is this slope here. So I suppose the first thing to be aware of is if the back is here, if I want to write the back, that'll be the back as well. Okay, so it should be sloping that way. So I can heavy that, and that will be my, oh no, sorry, I've made a mistake there. That's not out to the 65, that's 50. Let me just see. That's to here. Okay. I'll just fix that up there with a little bit of Tipex. Okay. So the reason that's different there, it's no harm in making the mistake in the video so that you can see it, is that this doesn't come right out to the edge. There's another 15 mil onto that for the front part. So I'll bring this down like so. Okay, so I'll put a little bit more Tipex on it. I did what I didn't want to do. Okay, so while I'm waiting for that to dry, what I'll do is I'll just draw in the front bar to the backpack. So as we said, it sticks up 35. And we can draw that line across. We can also bring that line right across there. Okay, so I'll just heavy these in. So this here is basically the main part of the back. That's this white line here. And this bit, as I said, that's where I made the mistake. That's that surface there. So what I'll do is I'll just get a blue and I'll shade that, because that's the colour that they used in the drawing. And we look at drawing this curve at a later stage. This is basically the white edge, so what I'll do is I'll draw this first. We know that this comes in the same distance as this, so it's 15 and 15 from both sides. So we measure in 15 there, and we measure in 15 here. We'll bring that up like so. And heavy that. So that's basically the front of the backpack, and this shape there would be the yellow surface. So we'll shade that in. So this will be red. Okay, so you can spend a little bit more time shading than I'm shading here. You see the yellow. Okay, and as you can see, I went a little bit too far on my heavy line there. So again, I'll just fix that up with a little bit of Tipex. Okay. Okay, so I have quite a bit done there. Now it's up to yourself then what you want to do, whether you want to project down to the plan at this stage or whether you want to work on the curve part. I'm just going to project down to the plan just to get into the habit of getting a few marks from each view. So the only real line that I can bring down at this minute from the end view is that line. So bring that down to my 45 degree line and bring it across. And that's got to do with my red surface here. So this is basically the pouch that's sticking out of the front. You see that that's a square pouch. So again, what I'll do is I'll heavy that in. And we'll bring that down. And we could heavy in this outline now at this stage if we wanted to. And we'll have a look at the curves in a minute. So what I'll do again is I'll just shade that red. So this time we're looking down on that red part there. Okay, so you can see it's starting to come together. So now what I want to do is I want to do my curve. So for that I'm going to need to get my compass. So I'll just take it here and I'll put my darker pen into it so I can draw it all in one go. So we know that this touches here, and we know that it looks to be a nice even curve. So therefore this must be radius 50, so therefore this must be the center point. Usually, oh, it actually says radius 50 there. Usually it'd be a little bit clearer, okay? But as to where the center point is. But once we know that that's radius 50, and we know that it touches the top, we can set this out here. Check that it touches the top. So I don't know whether I mismeasured that, or maybe I'm a little bit off the point. Maybe a little bit off the point. Yeah, that's all that happened there. So we'll bring that round like so. So there's the end view, which is basically my white part. And what we'll do is we'll bring that over. We know that we're going to come in 15 here. So it's the same as actually the pouch, so I can actually bring it up from here. Okay, and we know it comes right down to the bottom. So I can get my black marker again. It seems to have disappeared, so I'll just use a brown. Okay, and that's that view done except for the stripe. So we have a 10mm stripe in from either side. Okay. So we're happy enough with that. And then the last thing I want to do is I want to write down the stripe to plan. I'm happy in the outline. Okay, so again, this will be the edge of the circular piece. Let's stick it up. We want to draw in the line for the stripe. And then a little bit of shading should help us to visualize it. So basically the angled surface here is green, and we can see it in this view. In this view, if we did want to mark it, it basically is this edge here. Okay, we can only see it as an edge. But we'll shade it in here like so. And then we have our purple in the middle. And that's the question completed. So we have the views. One thing that we should check for, it's not asked for this question, but depending on the exam, and particularly if you're going on to do a woodwork exam as well, just watch out, do they ask for dimensions? In this case, they don't. So we're perfectly happy with that. We've it nice and heavied in, and it looks quite well. Again, just be careful which way you face it. The back is on this side, so it should be facing out this way. And that's the question completed.